Hi guys, it's Ray here from Man City Fan TV. How you guys doing? One person on. Thanks to whoever's on already for Sky or Gal. Let's just open up the channel so I can see what's going down. Woohoo! One like already. Hey, Kaz, you're in first. How you doing, buddy? Where are you from, Kaz? It's always interesting to know where people are from. Let's see if I can speak your language. Sweden. Oh, let me write something. There you go, Kaz. Hey, Benjamin. How you doing, buddy? Where are you from, Benjamin? See if I can speak your language. That's all I'm going to say to you. All right. Kian, how you doing, buddy? How you doing? Ghana. Oh, dear. What language do you speak in Ghana? Hi, Iski, how you doing? Hi, Dylan. Niall, how you doing, boys? Hey, Kaz. Hey, hi, hi, how's it going? So what language do you speak in Ghana? Don't say too much Swedish, man. I can't speak the language, I just know a little bit. I've just got to check. Alexandra Savic, how you doing, buddy? Chagi Wagwan. I think you're from somewhere in probably Jamaica. Son Proliva, is that kid who stays at the Etihad going to do any videos? Which kid? Which kid's this? Harry? Do you mean Harry? Yeah, Kaz, we'll talk about transfers. There's not really a lot happening, but there's lots of things to discuss. Hi, Albert from South Africa. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, I hope Sani says. Will Ghana be French? Well, I'm waiting for Ghana. Ghana actually is English. I mean, that's one of the languages they speak in Ghana. One of the official languages, I think. We'll just quickly check. English. Hey, it's a language for everybody. Ghana speak English. I think that's probably one of the most ones. I don't speak any Akan, Chargi. So where else are people from? Iske, I mean, I speak English and I speak French. And hi, Chris, how you doing, buddy? I can speak Hindi, Punjabi, Urdu, or I can understand it. I can speak a little of the languages. I understand them pretty decent. Hi, Mukunda, how you doing, buddy? But I know my idea is to learn a few words in different languages. So I know a few words in Bahasa Malay, Indonesia, similar language to Malaysia, bit of German. What else? Odd word in Dutch, odd word in Norwegian stroke Swedish. I used to know a bit of Tamil, which you get in South India and Sri Lanka and parts of Malaysia as well. I used to know just the words to be able to say hello and thank you and goodbye and stuff like that. What do I think about Mahrez? Yeah, we'll talk about Craggy Island, John. If you guys don't know anything about Craggy Island, Google that up. If I remember correctly, that's Father Ted. Very, very good. Hey, Andy's in town. Andy's in the house. Navaraj can teach Nepalese. Well, my Nepalese isn't that good. I've got to be honest. Do you call it Nepali or Nepalese? I mean, it's a similar thing. I mean, I can say. I mean, I guess it's your Hindi type language. You can say Namaste. So news on Pep rumour, Chada. You must be kidding. There's not happening. Hi, Chris. How you doing, mate? Abdul Hakim. We'll talk about Pep as well. So where's my friend from Nepal? I don't go to Mary D's, Alexander. I'm not a drinker. And to be honest, when we go to games, we're filming 3 or 4 hours before game starts. So it's very hard to go anywhere else. Harry will do some. I'm just going to get my camera up a bit better. Harry will do some more videos. I think he's doing exams at the moment, so it's difficult to do videos for us as well as do his exams. So I've got to read that carefully, John. Pep deserves a manhood or a mankhood. I think you're on dangerous territory there, John. Hi, Julian Santos. Where are you from, mate? It'd be nice if you tell me where you're from, guys, because that's cool as well, because it's nice to know. Hey, Andy, Rosetta Stone. Come on, man. Even Andy knows Namaste. Straight City from Jamaica. Hey, brother, how you doing? Where I grew up, there's a lot of lads from Jamaica. Where I grew up when I was a kid. So yeah, you got a bit of the lingo. I can't repeat the bits I remember because I think they're rude words. Let's have a look what else. Chada's from South Sudan. Julian Santos is in the US. I'm guessing, Julian, I can say hola, ¿cómo estás? To you. Yeah, so what we're going to talk about today, yeah? You've seen it's on Believer. I've done, I think, 3 videos without my specs on. I did 2 at Wembley at least. You guys have had your chance. You should have been on that live stream. Hey, Iona Beats. Bonsoir, Iona Beats. Comment ça va? Hey, another made of yuzu. So... going to send a message to one person made of yuzu. There you go. Is that Den in the house? All landlords, sunny, Bury tuning in. There's a bit of sun outside. Den's not too far from me. Huge city from the US. That's Julian Santos. Okay, let's tell you what we're going to talk about, and then we'll get into it. Okay, Sharon, we'll come to everything, right? So what I'm going to do for a minute, guys, I'm not going to look at your comments. I'm going to tell you what the agenda is for today, and then we'll go into specifics. So we're going to talk about players that might, there's speculation, what's going to happen to them. Someone like Otamendi, Gabby Jesus, Eric Garcia. People are asking about a fullback, Danilo. Who else is there? 1 or 2 others. So here we go. Here's the list: Leroy Sane, Danilo, Nicholas Otamendi, Vincent Kompany's testimonial, Eric Garcia, Gabby Jesus, Riyad Mahrez, and and Pep. What's happening to Pep? And then we'll chat about Allyson Rudd. And if you haven't seen her team of the decade, guys, it's a classic. You've got to go and speak that. Andy speaks Norwegian. Andy speaks better than me. I only know a few words that I learned about... In the mid-90s, I learned a few words, and that's it. So I can't remember. Jack, I know a few words of Russian. That was from the mid-90s as well. Knew a few words of Greek back then. I had a friend who married a Greek... girl, and her mother, when they came over for the wedding, she only spoke Greek. She didn't speak any English, so I learned a few words, to be nice and polite and whatever. That's kind of the way I am occasionally. So let's start off pick up my list of what we're gonna talk about. So now I'll go back to reading some of your messages as well. So we're going to talk about, let's start off top of the list, and we'll talk about Leroy Sane. Okay, Leroy Sane. We'll start with Leroy Sane. Now, there's a rumour that Bayern Munich are in for him, and we all know he's had some issues this last 6 months of the season where he's not really been figuring. He's not pulled up any trees when he started games, and he spent a lot of time on the bench. And Pepper said in a press conference that we've told him what he needs to do, and now it's up to Leroy. obviously Leroy didn't do what was required because he struggled to get game time towards the end of the season. And, I've said it before, he's the most exciting player to watch at City for me. He looks like he's a phenomenal talent. He's still, 22 years old, 23 years old, whatever it is. He's still very, very young. And we were hoping that the issues that he's had this last few months might have been due to his age, might have been due to the fact that he's just had a baby. It's a lot to take on for someone at that sort of age. I mean, when I had my first son, I was 40 years old. I was either almost 40 or 40 years old, and it was a big deal for me. So Leroy Sane is like 22 when he had a baby. It's a massive deal. So there's a lot of things going on. With having your mother as your agent and getting involved, that can cause issues because his mother is not bothered about anything apart from what she thinks is best for her son. Now, her son might be really happy about staying at City. Hi, Gary. We're just talking about people that are rumoured to leave, so we're starting off with Leroy. So I'm saying that Leroy has struggled this last few months of the season, and the talk of him going to Bayern Munich for. I mean, if he does go, it shouldn't go for a paltry. Just send this to Andy because this is what Andy's on about. So Leroy Sane. So he's the rumours are that Bayern Munich are going to pay something like 80 million euros for him, which is peanuts, really. I think he's got that potential. He's got to be worth 80 to 100 million pounds. I wouldn't take a penny less than 100. That's what I would be saying. And if he doesn't, if Bayern don't want to pay the money, he stays with City. And City are the kind of club that can just keep him and not let, if we don't get the right money, he stays. Simple as that. He's on 60 grand a week. It's no big deal for City, and and if he stays at City, I mean, we've seen the last 6 months, he's not played that much. So what difference is it going to make if he's sitting on the bench next season? Not a lot to City. So I think, either Bayern are going to have to put up the money or he's going to have to pull out his finger. Yeah, that's right. Will Watson, how you doing, buddy? Sane does wind up Pep. He doesn't do what is required. We could sell him to Bayern. If we do, let him go. We'll get the money. And as I said, he's not played that much the last 6 months. And we've won 14 league games on the bounce. So have we missed him? I'm not so sure. Absolutely not, Den. No way are we getting Gareth Bale. Absolutely not. Well, Julio, I don't mind doing business with Bayern. But if we're going to do business with Bayern, we're going to actually make loads. The money's got to be loads. We got to ask for somewhere in the region of at least 100 million quid. Don't let him go on the cheap. Absolutely no way. So I'm just tidying up my camera there. So let's move this around just a little bit. So let's have a think. What else? So we talked about Leroy Sane. Next on my list, I have to go and have a look who's on my list so I don't miss anybody out. Danilo. Now, Danilo, the rumours were that he was going to go to Inter Milan. Now, and it's all rumours, remember that, it's all rumours that he'd agreed a deal and, agreed personal terms and everything else. But recently, I mean, we're trying to just piece parts of the puzzle together, and we don't know if they're going to fit because we don't know the full picture until after the transfer window is closed. So we're just trying to, make educated guesses. Now, the word on the street 6 months ago was that Pep was going to get a left back. He wanted a left back, and recently the word on the street has been that Pep doesn't want a left back anymore. The word on the street was that that Danilo was going to Inter Milan. The word on the street right now is apparently maybe he's not. If you look at his Instagram account, when he's sitting there with the FA Cup in the dressing room, he said something like, see you next year. See you next year. So, that if you want to read it in the way that he's going to stay at City. Now, when Danilo was looked like he might be leaving, and we were saying, "Yep, you can go." That's probably about the same time that we thought we were going to get a new left back. Now we're not going to get a new left back. So does that automatically mean Danilo staying? Because if Danilo stays, he is a very capable utility player, very flexible. He plays left back, he plays right back, he's played centre back, he's played defensive midfield. And he's done himself justice in almost every game, in almost every position this season. So, if we don't get a left back, and we'll have 3 players who can play left back properly. And 4 if you include Aymeric Laporte. So we'd have Zinchenko, who I'd expect to be number 1, fighting with number 1 with Ben Mendy. You've got Danilo, and you've got Aymeric Laporte if we really need to. So, I want Danilo to stay just for that versatility, because he can play right back instead of Kyle Walker. Delph, to be honest, Delph is versatile as well, but I think he's fallen down the pecking order in terms of favour and in terms of the way he's played. And I think he's definitely behind Zinchenko. He's definitely behind Ben Mendy. For me, he's definitely behind Danilo. And quite possibly definitely behind Aymeric Laporte as well. So, he's 4th or 5th choice left back. He's never going to get a shot in midfield. So it may be Delph goes, or we keep him as another utility player who's a reserve, and you only call upon him when you suffer from injuries and suspension. So that's Danilo. And Otamendi, have a quick chat about Otamendi. Now, the word on the street again a few months ago was that Otamendi was going to leave. Barcelona were mentioned. And it was a rumour that Otamendi wanted more game time. And suddenly, after those rumours came out, Pep played him for 3 or 4 games. Now, Otamendi is probably around, 30, 31. I'm not sure exactly how old he is now. And he's looking at the last few years of his career. And he wants to play. It's great being at City, but I think once you see the writing on the wall, once you see yourself not getting many games, you can keep winning trophies, but at some point you'll say, I actually want to play. I've won enough trophies now. I'd like to carry on winning trophies, but I'd rather play more games. So I can see, for me, it's 50-50 whether Otamendi stays or goes, because Vinny Kompany's gone. Now that Vinny Kompany's gone, the feeling is Otamendi may get more time. So one of his obstacles for playing has just left the club. Now, Eric Garcia, I expect him to be promoted to the first team training next season, full time. And maybe maybe Sandler might get the odd game in defence. I can see that happening, especially the cup games. Garcia played a lot of cup games this season, and I can see Garcia being developed and introduced in the odd game next season, the odd league game. I'm not sure about starting, but I can see him coming on at the end. Julian Santos, Philippe Sandler, we got him from FC's, PEC Zwolle in Holland for a couple of £1 million, I think. And he was injured when he first came, but he's been training with the first team squad. He's played the odd cup game as well. So we got Eric Garcia looking like he's going to come through. We've got the man Eleki Mangala, although we thought he extended his contract to be sold. I still expect us really to get a new new centre back, a new left-sided centre back, because John Stones and Eric Garcia play on the right of the pairing. Laporte plays on the left. Otamendi would play on the left if he stays. I think Bravo's going, buddy. I think Bravo's going to go to, because he's out of contract, and we're going to get Zach Steffen as our keeper. So that's Otamendi, that's Eric Garcia. Gabby Jesus. There's rumours that Gabby Jesus wasn't happy with his game time. I'm not so sure about that. We played 61 games this season. That's a heck of a lot. 61 games, and I think Gabby Jesus is going to be an important part of the squad. He is an important part of the squad, and he'll be an important part of the squad next season. So, you can't see Aguero playing all the games. Gabby, once again, I expect him to play the cup games. He'll have a good run in the cups, play a few of the Champions League games. He'll start there. He'll start a few league games here and there as well. So I think he'll get probably a little bit more game time than he got this season, and I'm expecting him to stay now. I really can't see why he would leave unless he's really desperate for game time. And the last one of the current squad is Mahrez. And now Pep has said that Mahrez is going to stay. He's going nowhere. Look on, Chris. I'll just say this: Jesus out, Jovic in. Well, Jovic is going to Real Madrid, isn't he? If I'm right. So why would he come to City once he's already gone to Real Madrid? Come on, guys, keep up with it. Yeah, Gabby did the business in the final. So anyway, Riyad Mahrez. So Pepper's come out and said that Riyad Mahrez is going nowhere. He's going to be here next season. And if you look at the last 2 games of the season, in important games, we had to win the game against Brighton to win the league. We had to win the game against Watford to win the cup. And Pep started with Riyad Mahrez in each of those games. Against Brighton, he scored a goal. So, you know, he played quite decent games in both of those matches. So, I'll talk about Gundogan as well. But so I expect Mahrez to stay. I think he'll develop. I think he'll relax a bit more. I think he'll have a proper pre-season with Pep and most of the first team squad. And I think that's really, really important. He didn't get it last season. He'll get it this season. I think that's going to make a world of difference. Ilkay Gundogan, I mean, the word on the street has been up and down with Ilkay Gundogan. It's that yes, obviously he didn't sign his new contract. And we were umming and ahhing whether he would or he wouldn't. Now, apparently we were going to buy Bruno Fernandes, and suddenly we've decided not to. Now, people are putting 2 and 2 together and saying that's because Ilkay Gundogan is going to stay. So he's going to sign his contract and stay. So we don't need Bruno Fernandes because we've got Ilkay Gundogan for an extra couple of years, 2 or 3 years. And if we do get Rodri, which a lot of strong rumours that we're getting Rodri from Atletico Madrid, then we're more than covered. We have Fernandinho, we'll have Rodri, we'll have Gundogan as well. So we'll have probably just about enough in that defensive midfield department. So let's move on. Let's move on to Vincent Kompany's testimonial. That's on the 11th of September. Kick-off at 7:45. It's going to be fantastic because obviously you're going to get a lot of the old boys coming back. I expect to see Zabaleta there, quite possibly. Nigel de Jong, Julian Lescott, Gareth Barry, maybe Carlos Tevez. Players from way back. Micah Richards. It's going to be a special night. Now, Joe Hart, I expect him to be there. Now we've got 55,000 seater. Cheapest tickets are 20 quid. So the 20 quid's a good price. I think some of the tickets are a bit more expensive, but the minimum is 20, and so they're going to raise at least £1 million on the gate. Ali Mohammed, I expect it to be on TV because if they can sell that game to TV, they could probably get an extra, maybe £150,000 for letting that game go to TV. So the 93.20 is only £40. It's probably a nice place to sit for 40 quid. So I might be tempted to look somewhere else from my normal seat. The tickets go on sale tomorrow, I believe. So if you want a ticket, get on the website and get yourself a ticket. So it'd be great to see Tevez, but it'd be great to see them all back. Even Yaya Toure. But it'd be great to see them all back. It'd be absolutely fantastic. I've already done Sane, so I'll talk about him again. It's 50-50 whether he stays or goes. You've got to look at it and say he's not contributed any much this season. So he's not contributed much at all this season. So that's a concern. The latter part of the season, the last half of the season, he's not started many games. When he has started, he's not really pulled up any trees. He's been coming off the bench. He's had the odd, a good few minutes here and there. But generally, he's not been good enough. Riyad Mahrez has been starting in front of him. He had Phil Foden starting a game a couple of games ago. I was worried that we'd end up having Gabi Jesus starting on the left instead of Leroy Sane. So Leroy Sane's let himself down a bit. Pepper said, we've told Leroy what he needs to do to be playing. And obviously, the fact is that Leroy hasn't done what's been required because he's not been playing. So, as I said before, for me, he's the most exciting player Man City have got. When he plays, I'm really excited when he's on the ball or when the ball's near him or we think he's going to get the ball or whatever. And he's got some great goals. That the winner against Liverpool, great goal, very important. But end of the day, he's not contributing enough, and so if he's sold, to be honest, I don't want to see him sold for anything less than 100 million quid. Oh yeah, as I'm just going to do, and says, let's have a look what Ringak Shah is saying. We can't find a replacement for Chi. I agree, Ringak Shah. But the thing is, he's not played that much this season. So, in the second half of the season. And did we miss him? Not really. I mean, I can see next season we'll have Mahrez and Bernardo on the right and Sterling on the left. And if Ben Mendy's fit, then Ben Mendy, it's difficult to play Ben Mendy and Sane in the same team because Ben Mendy will be up on the left side of left wing, putting the balls in. So, I don't think it's a big problem. Sane's got an attitude problem, apparently. He's not tracking back. He's not doing what Pep says. Yeah, best wishes for Brad. I didn't know you've not been well, Brad. Buddy, get well soon, mate. Harry Maguire. Let's talk of Harry Maguire because he plays on the left side of with the centre backs. So it's a possibility. I mean, it's going to cost us an arm and a leg. I mean, they're talking about 70, 80 million quid. I just don't think we're going to pay that. Stones looks a class act. Tosin's, to be honest, I expect Tosin to be sold. He's not going to come back and play for City. I just think City have let him go out on loan. We'll sell him for 10 million quid if we can. And hopefully that'll be all right. So, good. Once again, my best wishes to Brad Niblock. Great guy, big friend of the channel. Came to see game with Andy. I think it was the Spurs game. No, the Leicester game. I think he had a great time. So all the best, Brad. And hopefully we'll see you again soon on the channel. Fighting fit. Yes, so Tosin, don't think he'll come back. So yeah, I'm getting message. Tell you what, my phone's really busy. I've got me, Julie, on the line, sending me messages as well. So got to deal with her. Daniel Grimshaw, I don't know what's going to happen with Danny Grimshaw. I expect him to go out on loan, actually, Cameron. I expect him to go out on loan because if you sell him now, you're not going to get much money. If you send him out on loan for a season, like we did with not Ben Gunn, Angus Gunn. We sent Angus Gunn on loan for a season to Norwich, was it? Yeah, Norwich. And the season after that, he went to Southampton for about between 12 and 15 million pounds. So if we'd sold Angus Gunn without that year on loan, we'd have been looking at 5 or 6 million, So that year's loan really made a lot of money on his, adding to his value. Patrick Roberts, he's at Girona. He's got no future at City. Patrick Roberts burnt his bridges, really, when he went on that 18-month loan to Celtic, which is absolutely well and good. He did really well. But when he came back, Pep wanted him to fight for his place, and he went back to Celtic. He took the easy option, took the easy way out. And when he came back, he's behind Brahim Diaz. So he's not pulled up any trees at Girona, and Patrick Roberts' time at City, I think, is finished. Our issue is what we're going to sell him for. I reckon we'll try and sell him for about 10 to 15 million quid and be done with the guy. Yep, Pepe's not afraid to sell major players. Absolutely. So, if Leroy Sane is not cutting the mustard, then he'll go. If he's not going to listen, he'll be gone. Bruno Fernandes, Chris, to be honest, I have no idea because we're not privy to any information. So we have absolutely no idea. Julio Castaneda wants a 2 a.m. live stream. I tell you what, I could have done it last night. I went to bed about 2:30, 3 o'clock, so I could have done a short live stream, but I'm really not keen on that Wan-Bissaka. I'm not sure we'll get Wan-Bissaka. If Danilo stays, we have no reason to get Wan-Bissaka. So let's move on. Let's move on to Allyson Rudd. Yeah, Robert, I'm okay, mate. Douglas Luiz. Fingers crossed Douglas Luiz will get his work permit this time round and he'll be able to come back to City and try and catch up what he's missed out. You know, that season at Girona, I think he's done okay, but it's not the same as playing and training under Pep. So he might get the odd game in the Cup next season. Excuse me. So let's have a look at Allyson Rudd. I'm just going to pull up Allyson Rudd's team of the decade. So guys, if you haven't seen Allyson Rudd's team of the decade, wow, that's all I can say. So yeah, Allyson Rudd did a team of the decade, and I just can't find it now. I closed my computer down and it's disappeared. I'll try and find it for you. It's on my timeline somewhere. So, Sancho's not 100 million. Okay, Sancho is what someone is willing to pay for him, and I don't think anyone is going to pay 100 million for Sancho. It's just talk. So let me just find you Allyson Rudd's team of the decade. I mean, there's some right whoppers in there. You know, we did invite her onto the channel. I found it, mate. We invited Allyson Rudd onto the channel, you know, to give us her explanation, but you know, maybe she didn't see the message. Okay, here is Allyson Rudd's team of the decade. So what I'm going to do first, I'm just going to give you all the 11 players. She's playing a 4-3-3 system. I'll give you all the 11 players, and then we can discuss them. So she's got Edison at centre back. She's got Andrew Robertson at left back, Virgil van Dijk at centre back with Vincent Kompany, and Trent Alexander-Arnold on the right. She's got Steven Gerrard in midfield with N'Golo Kante and Frank Lampard, and up front she's got Raheem Sterling, Didier Drogba, and Mohamed Salah. Edison's not at centre back. We've got Edison's in goal. We can put Edison at centre back if you want. So we've got Edison in goal. Left back is Robertson. Virgil van Dijk and Kompany as your centre backs. Right back is Trent Alexander-Arnold, Gerrard, N'Golo Kante, Lampard in midfield, and Sterling, Drogba, and Salah up front. Oh, if I said centre back, sue me, man, sue me. Anyway, so Edison, thanks for correcting me. Edison in goal. Let's be honest. Edison's only been here 2 seasons, and for a player of the decade, he'd have had to be even more outstanding than he currently is to be team of the decade for me. So I can't go with Edison. I think it's quite straightforward. It should be David De Gea. He has been the best goalie. He's not right now. If you're looking at right now, he's not. But Edison can't be team of the decade. Has to be David De Gea. Centre backs. Now we're looking at the last 10 years. We're looking at from 2010 to 2019. Okay, 2010 to 2019 to the current day. Virgil van Dijk has only played a few seasons in the Premier League. And when he was at Southampton, nobody, absolutely nobody, okay, would have said this guy would be anywhere near team of the decade. He's had 18 months at Liverpool, and suddenly he's worthy of team of the decade. No, not for me. It has to be Kompany. Can't argue with Kompany. Okay, cannot argue with Kompany. The other centre back, I would have either Terry or Rio Ferdinand, and I don't care which one you pick. You can argue, you know, there was still, especially Terry had a few good seasons in him after 2010. Ferdinand, obviously, he was knocking on a bit, but he still won the league in 2013. And you know, I can't remember when he bowed out. Was it 2014 or whatever? 2015. He was still okay, but I would probably go for Terry because I think he had more of an impact in the decade. Left and right back, please. You know, Robertson. He was at Hull. He's had 2 seasons at Liverpool, and now he's player of the decade. I'm not buying that. I can't look at Ashley Cole's stats to see how many years he played at how many years did Ashley Cole play at left back? But during the decade, I'd still put Ashley Cole above Robertson, even if Ashley Cole only played 3 or 4 years. Because you're doing Robertson on 2 years. You're doing Robertson on 2 years, which I think is ridiculous. So there you go, Chris. Rio left the rags in 2014. I would say it has to be Terry. The right back, honestly, I couldn't tell you who was the best right back. But Trent Alexander-Arnold has only done a couple of years as well. Well, Cole has done four seasons, same as Ferdinand, but I'd still put Cole for those 4 years. I mean, would you say Cole's last 4 years at Chelsea were better than Andrew Robertson's 2 years at Liverpool and 1 year at Hull? It's a shout for Zabba, and that's a decent shout for Zabba. Or even Kyle Walker. I mean, but personally, I would go, I love Zabba. So I'm not sure exactly who I'd go for fullbacks, but certainly not Andrew Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold. No chance. I'll come to the midfield in a minute. I'm going to look up front first. Didier Drogba. Okay? Let's talk about Didier Drogba. His 3 full seasons, because he only had 3.5 seasons during the decade, okay? His 3 full seasons, he played 88 games. And I think he scored, was it 16 goals? 20 goals? He's scoring a goal every 4 or 5 games, okay? He had half a good season in 2010, where I think that season he played about 32 league games and scored 29 goals. But that wasn't all in this decade. Some of it is in last decade. So, the 3 full seasons, he played 80 odd games. He scored 16 or 20 goals. It's nothing. And in that same time, Sergio Aguero scored somewhere like, I don't know how many league goals he scored, but he scored somewhere around 150, 160 goals. So there's no contest. Absolutely no contest. How she can dare to put Didier Drogba in is beyond me. Mo Salah. Let's look at Mo Salah. Mo Salah's had 2 good seasons. Let's be quite honest. So she's basing Mo Salah on 2 good seasons out of 10 years. Out of 10 years, she's blaming it on putting him in on 2 good seasons. For me, I would have probably gone for, I can't think back exactly to who was around in 2010 and to 2014 who was great. But Mo Salah, I'd go for Eden Hazard. What's wrong with Eden Hazard? Eden Hazard has done a lot. Yeah, he's done a lot, Eden Hazard. And I think, what he's done over the decade is better than Mo Salah. Sterling, I'm a bit like that. But Sterling's numbers for the last 2 seasons have been very, very good. And the season he had at Liverpool, he had another good season. So Sterling has had 3 or 4, he's had at least 3 very, very good seasons and a couple of others that have been all right. Sterling's numbers are probably quite decent, okay? And then we look at midfielders. N'Golo Kante, let's be honest, you can't really argue about N'Golo Kante. You cannot argue because he's class. Then we look at Stevie G and Frank Lampard. Now, Stevie G had, in this decade, 5 seasons. Lampard had 5 or 6. Each of them had 5 or 6 seasons. But at the end, towards the end, they were on the decline. Stevie G's last game for Liverpool. They lost, was it 5-1, 6-1 at Stoke. So, Yaya Toure, the thing with Yaya is he had 2 or 3 really decent seasons and the rest were average kind of. But I would have had Yaya ahead of Steven Gerrard or Frank Lampard. Purely, Niall, I agree. Gerrard and Lampard from 2000 to 2010, you can include them. From 2010 to 2020, I can't include them. I would have Yaya. I could think about that. Now I was going to mention. David Silva. Now David Silva in those 10 years has scored 54 league goals, which is not bad from midfield, and he's got, I think, was it 70 odd or 80 odd assists. So David Silva, he's got to be knocking on the door. N'Golo Kante, look. The thing about N'Golo Kante, he's won the league at Leicester, Player of the Season. He won the league at Chelsea, Player of the Season. and you've got to argue he's had at least 3 really good seasons. Look, Fernandinho scored more goals, but City have scored more goals as a team. But our team doesn't need. I don't think it needs N'Golo Kante. For the team that you've got there, you don't need N'Golo Kante. So I'm going to stick in Yaya Toure. I'm going to be bold and say he's a City player. I'm sticking him in. I'm sticking in David Silva. I've got one more spot. Now, who do I put in? It's really tough. Yeah, I popped them in. Salah's not in for me. Salah's not in because 2 good seasons. I'm having Eden Hazard instead of Salah. So who am I going to have? I've got Yaya Toure. I've got David Silva. And I'll leave it up to you guys. Who's the third midfielder do you want? You know, I've got Eden Hazard up front. Behave. No, couldn't have Robin Van Persie. Couldn't, because Robin Van Persie has to fight for that striker spot against Sergio Aguero, and nobody beats Sergio Aguero. Harry Kane? No. There you go. No. Because I'm having 1 striker and 2 wingers. Nah, I can't have Milner. KDB's knocking on the door. Nah, I'm not going to include Gerrard and Lampard. I can't, Andy. I can't include Gerrard and Lampard purely because I tell you who I like. I forgot this guy. I want Raheem. I want Raheem in there. Wayne Rooney. Oh dear. Wayne Rooney. Now that's a tough one. Wayne Rooney. Could be Wayne Rooney. Yeah, Wayne Rooney. I mean, I was gonna go for Santi Cazorla because he was a good player. But there, I think that Wayne Rooney, yeah, sounds good. No, not Juan Mata. No, I think. See, one of the issues is we only remember the last 4 or 5 years. We forget about the first 4 or 5 years of the decade. I mean, Ozil had great numbers. Behave, Andy. Behave. Between 2000 and 2010. There's no doubt Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard would be in the team of the decade. But we're looking at the team of this decade, okay? We're not living in the past. We're not Liverpool. We're not Liverpool fans. We don't live in the past, okay? You know, Gerrard was disappearing, you know, after about... Gerrard's last good season was 2014 or 2015 max. And... You know, Raheem Sterling, I'm having 2 wingers, mate. Okay, I'm having 2 wingers. I'm having Eden Hazard and Raheem Sterling as my wingers and Sergio Aguero's up front. Rubbish, well, garbage. That's what I say, mate. If you said garbage, I might have taken you seriously. Fabregas is another good player. There's lots of good players, but at some point, you have to make decisions and you have to make hard decisions. Yeah, I mean, Gerrard's won nothing. Tell me what he's won. Tell me what he's dragged his team to winning. Gerrard's won nothing. In those 10 years, nada. Liverpool have won nothing. You know, how can you have... She's got 5 Liverpool players. Robertson, Van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Gerrard and Mo Salah. From a team that won nothing. Nasri, I don't think Nasri did enough for long enough. So, you know, if your team's won now... Gerrard, and they had a good team, you know. Look, they had Suarez, they had Sterling... They had Sturridge on fire. They had Gerrard, and they couldn't win the Premier League title. Not having it, mate. You know, he should have dragged them over the line. The same way Vincent Kompany, every time he's had a chance, he's dragged us over the line. It's not just on trophies. It's not just... You see, look, Andy, you're talking garbage. You're talking garbage, okay? Absolute rot. You know, you can't... It's not just about trophies, but look what Vinny Kompany's done. He's dragged City through when he's needed to. What did Steven Gerrard do? He didn't drag Liverpool through. He slipped on his arse. He slipped on his arse and he cost them the title. End of. Discussion over. He's a liability. Yeah, but I'm talking about the full decade. We can't look at... Gerrard did a lot before 2010. Lampard did a lot before 2010. Okay? I'm just using Kompany as an example. Kompany as a captain, as a leader, he's dragged City through. I'm not angry, mate. I'm not angry. When Gerrard had the opportunity to drag Liverpool through to win that league title, he couldn't do it. I'm not biased. I'm not biased for City players. You know, only a little bit. You know, hey guys, you've got to be a little bit biased. We're talking City here, but objectively, I don't think Gerrard did enough. Okay, I mean, if I might throw out Eden Hazard out on the left instead and put Harry Kane up front. Oh, there you go. I've got a better idea. I'm gonna put Harry Kane up front with Sergio Aguero and Raheem Sterling. I'm going to dump Steven Gerrard. I'm going to put Eden Hazard because I think over the last 10 years, Eden Hazard has done a lot more than Steven Gerrard. So there you go. Michael Carrick's done all right, but in the last few seasons, he's done nothing. So there you go. There's my team. Hazard instead of Steven Gerrard. Gerrard, on your bike. Lampard did it for a little bit longer. Lampard won stuff. He dragged his team over the line. So Hazard is in. Hazard instead of Gerrard. Hazard instead of Gerrard. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. And I'll put Harry Kane. Look, Harry Kane's, you know, for 3 seasons, he's bagged loads of goals. 4 seasons. So Harry Kane's got over 100 goals, I think, in 4 seasons. So I think that he deserves to be in for that, Harry Kane. He's got more goals in 4 seasons, I think, than Drogba got in his whole career. But Den loves Kane. Den loves Sterling. I mean, gotta tell you guys that Orlan Laws, which is Den, he always used to tell us that Sterling, it never did it for him. Never did it for him. There you go. Hazard has won an FA Cup, Europa League, league title. Did Hazard win the Champions League? I can't remember. But he's won plenty. He's won plenty, Hazard. So Hazard deserves to be there. And I'll pop him in midfield instead of Stevie G, Slippy G, and Yaya and David Silva. So instead of Frank Lampard, I'm having David Silva. I think I don't have a problem with that. And you've also got to remember, in these 10 years, City have won 4 league titles. 4 league titles. Modric hasn't played enough in England to be included. Yeah, what Sterling ever done for City? No. So you've got to remember, City won 4 league titles, 4 league cups, and 2 FA Cups in those 10 years. So you'd expect to have a load of City players, but certainly not Edison. I mean, at the back 4, I'm only having 1 City player. In midfield, I'm having 2 City players. Up front, I'm having 2 City players. I think that's decent, having 5 City players in the team of the decade. I don't see anything problem with that. I don't think Dzeko did enough. I'm not easy to wind up. I'm putting you in your place, mate. Putting you in your place. Come on, guys. If you think that Eden Hazard should be in that team of the decade instead of Steven Gerrard, give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. You know? And if you agree with Andy, well, you can sling your hook as well. Steven Gerrard. He's won now. He's done now. Come on, Avril. How can Virgil van Dijk be there? How can Virgil van Dijk be there for what he's done in 18 months? There you go, Andy, typing in caps. Virgil van Dijk, okay, I'll repeat this, Avril. When he was at Southampton, nobody was touting him as the best central defender in the league. Absolutely no way. 18 months at Liverpool, he's now the best centre-back in the world. I'm sorry, you can't be in the... That's it, Rabito Blonde. You can't be in the good... you can't be in the team of the decade for 1 or 2 good seasons. And that's what Allyson Rudder's done. She's included Edison for 2 good seasons in team of the decade. Sorry, can't agree. She's included Andrew Robertson in team of the decade for 2 decent seasons. Can't agree with that. She's included Virgil van Dijk in team of the decade for 18 months. Can't agree with that. Trent Alexander-Arnold, 18 months. He's been injured a lot as well. And she's having him in team of the decade. Can't go with that. Slippy G, slipped on his ass. Give it to Demba Ba. So, I'd have Eden Hazard all day long over Slippy G for what Slippy G did in the last 10 years. And Frank Lampard, well, in the last decade, I've got to have David Silva above Frank Lampard. And my box-to-box is going to be Yaya Toure. So, I'd have had Lampard over Slippy G as well. But I'm having David Silva instead. I'm not sure about 5 good seasons. I think you're going to have 3 top-class seasons and at least a couple of others that have been decent. Okay? So that's how people like Hazard gets in. That's how people like David Silva gets in. People like Aguero, Regular, Kane. What does Den know about football? Agrees with you. What, is he having Slippy G? Are you having Slippy G, Den? I've got to see this comment if Den's having Slippy G. Come on, Den. Tell me, are you having Slippy G or Eden Hazard? That's your choice. Slippy G or Eden Hazard. David Silva or Norway Yaya Toure. Certainly not having Slippy G, and I'm having David Silva over Frankie. I'm having David Silva over Frank. Gerrard, Gerrard is not competing. Okay, Gerrard is not competing with Yaya Toure. Gerrard is competing with Eden Hazard. So it's Gerrard or Eden Hazard. Okay, now if you tell me you're going to have Gerrard for what he did in the last 10 years over Eden Hazard, what he's done in the last 10 years, I'd say you've been on the sniffing the glue again, Den. No way can you have Slippy G, who slipped on his ass and gave it to Demba Ba. No way you can have him above Hazard. Exactly. See, but you only got space for 3 midfielders, and I'm having Yaya Toure. David Silva. I'm having 3 midfielders. I'm having 4-3-3. I'm having Eden Hazard on the wherever he wants to play, left or right. I'm having 4-3-3. I'm happy with that. I'm having Eden Hazard and David Silva ahead of Yaya Toure. I'll tell you what. I'll be magnanimous and I'll boot Yaya Toure out and put Fernandinho in. Does that make everybody happy? People don't want Yaya Toure. I'll boot Yaya Toure out and I'll put Fernandinho in. So there you go. I'm having Fernandinho in because he's been consistent for 5 years. And in front of him, I want Eden Hazard and I want David Silva. And up front, I'm having Raheem Sterling, I'm having Harry Kane, and I'm having Sergio Aguero. I think Kane deserves to be there, in all honesty. He's had enough good seasons at Spurs. He's scored plenty of goals. You can't deny him that. No Stevie G. No chance. No way at all. He's, besides not really doing enough for me in the last few seasons, he dragged Liverpool through a few games, yeah. Well, there you go. Harry Kane. Behave, Andy. Harry Kane's got a bundle of goals. You can't deny Harry Kane. You can't. Andy's getting very precious at the moment. How can you deny Harry Kane? I'm looking up his stats now. So forget about his loan. What's he done at Spurs? Let's have a look at his club career at Spurs, okay? Someone can tell me how many goals and how many games. There's a lot of stuff to read on H. Let's have a look. Okay, Harry Kane. Let's have a look. 2014-15, 21 goals, 25 goals, 29 goals, 30 goals, 17 goals. Okay, so in the last 5 seasons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he scored 50, 75, 105, 122 goals he scored. 122 goals he scored. 122 goals Harry Kane has scored in the last 5 seasons. 122. Okay, that's almost 25 a season. And in that time, he played 167 games. That's pretty good. I mean, there's an argument for Rooney as well. Let's look at Rooney stats then. It might be that we argue that Rooney should be there instead of Raheem Sterling. Let's look at Rooney's stats. And I'm just going to go on the stats, okay? We know in the last 3 or 4 years, he might not have been as good as he was earlier on. But Rooney's goal-scoring stats are still fantastic. There's no denying that. I'm looking at 2010, okay. He's not scored as many as Harry Kane. So Rooney, 38, 48, 50, 67, 77, 79, plus 13 is 92. So Rooney's got about 100 goals in the decade. Actually, isn't that great? Isn't that great? And even Sterling, it's not just about numbers. I agree it's not just about numbers. But Raheem Sterling has scored, Rooney's only scored about 100 goals in the last decade. And Sterling is going to catch him up, and Sterling's not played. And Rooney played most of the last decade. You've got to remember that. He played most of the last decade, and Raheem hasn't. Let's have a look at Raheem's stats then. Oh, Raheem's first Premier League game was in 2011-2012. So, Shearer. Raheem Sterling scored only 48 league goals, but his last 2 seasons have been phenomenal. He's got 35 league goals in the last 2 seasons. Scott, we've had so many arguments about who's going to be in the team. I can't look at the bench. I just can't go look at the bench. So, yeah, there you go. I've dropped Raheem Sterling due to pressure and his lack of numbers. And, this decade. So, Slippy G. Guys, it's almost 5 o'clock, and that's my cut-off time. I said I was going to do an hour. I've got to go and pick my kids up. My kids have been playing rounders today for their school. Go and find out if they've won out. And, yeah, we'll see. But, guys, keep getting your comments across. Give me some likes if you want. The question, the debate is, if you want, do you want Steven Gerrard or Eden Hazard in your team? Who do you want? Yeah, like the videos. Get me up to at least 40. That'd be nice. It's not competition, but it's always nice to be liked. I've got to have a quick look at this. I'll have to close this down. I've got 39 likes, guys. Hazard. There you go. I think the consensus is Hazard. Yep. The thing is, KDB hasn't done enough. See, Andy doesn't want to win. Andy's not a winner. I want my team to win. I want my team to win at everything. I'm not going to take Gerrard, who has been towards the end. He could even get in the team with Brendan Rodgers. No, I mean, I've got to decide between Rooney, Hazard, and no, I've changed my formation now. I've gone to 4-4-2. I'm having Kane and I've dropped Sterling. I'm having Kane and Sergio Aguero up top. So I've dropped Sterling. I can have 4-4-2. Okay, I can have 4-4-2. I can have 4-4-2, but in that 4-4-2, I'm having Fernandinho, I'm having David Silva, I'm having Eden Hazard. I've got one spot, and right now I might be going for Wayne Rooney. It's going to either be Rooney or Lampard for my last spot, and I'm going to look at Lampard's stats. See, the thing with Raheem Sterling, Raheem Sterling is only. He's not done it for long enough. Let's look at Fat Frank. This is going to be my decision now. Is based on how many goals Fat Frank has scored. 21, 36, 42, 48, 51. Yeah, it's a very tough call. Right now, without really studying it in any more depth, I'm going to go to Rooney over Lampard just for the goals. Rooney scored 100 goals in the decade. Lampard, even though he's in midfield, he scored under 50. So I've got to go for Rooney above Lamps. Tevez, I'm only going with 2 strikers. Andy, are you listening? 2 strikers, Andy. That's all I'm playing with. 2 strikers. So that's our team of the decade. I haven't gone through everything. I've just dropped. Rooney was a midfielder at the end, mate. Rooney was playing as a number 10 in midfield. He played a bit at striker. Rooney's my man who can drift. Rooney's my man who can drift between midfield and attack. Okay? I've got to have some flexibility, man. So Rooney scored 100 goals in the decade. He deserves to be there. Harry Kane has scored 122 goals in the decade or something. He deserves to be there. Sergio Aguero scored 160 goals in the decade. He deserves to be there. So I've got to do it. And the only, so all I'm saying is I'm having, actually, I'm not sure about my fullbacks, I'll be honest. I'm having David De Gea in nets. That's Man City Fan TV. That's the Man City Fan TV Team of the Decade. We've got David De Gea in nets. We've got Ashley Cole at left back. John Terry with Vincent Kompany at centre backs. Right back, we're umming and ahhing. We're still not sure. I can't remember who I said was going to go at right back, to be quite honest. And then get out of it, Andy. All I've done is drop Sterling. To accommodate Rooney, in effect, and Kane. So in midfield, we're having Fernandinho, and Fernandinho will have David Silva there. We'll have Eden Hazard there. We'll have Wayne Rooney there, and up front Harry Kane, and who's the other one? Sergio Aguero. All I've done is I've dropped Raheem Sterling. That's it. From my initial team, I've dropped Raheem Sterling and put Wayne Rooney in. I don't see any problem there. And I dropped Yaya for Fernandinho, because I was just trying to wind up Andy, and because Andy loves Yaya Toure, honest. So I'm going to have... so all I've, in effect, done is drop Raheem Sterling for Wayne Rooney, who over the course of a decade scored 100 goals. Now, I think if Sterling had had one more really good season where he'd got 17 or 18 league goals, then I'd have gone for that. Hi, Football Fan Chat. I'm just about to go, buddy. My time limit was an hour. I've got to go and pick my kids up. I dropped Yaya, man. I only put Yaya in to wind you up. You know, it's flip of a coin, Yaya or Fernandinho. But Yaya was there to get Andy riled up, and look at all those capitals that Andy spent, the last 30 minutes in capitals. It's not a Spurs shirt, man. Look, you can see the shirt. That's not a Spurs shirt. Spurs have won nought, mate. Spurs have won nought in their careers. Let's have a look. So who's calling it? So that was a Football Fan Chat accusing me wearing a Spurs shirt. It's a France shirt, okay? I used to live in France for nearly 10 years. I've got a load of French gear. Tussy. Don't be a tussy. There's nowhere Pep's going. Pep said, I'm not going to Juve. He's got everything he wants at City. He's got Cheeky, he's got Ferran, great people at Omar Barada. He's got Sheikh Khaldoon. He's got everything. Why would he go to Juventus where none of this setup is there? He's got everything in place so he can focus on what he wants to focus on. So, Pep's not going anywhere. Bale should be in the Team of the Decade. Behave. See you, Robert. See you guys. Right, guys, I've got to shoot. If Andy wants to keep this argument up and talk about his own Team of the Decade, he can come on, he can do a live chat, and he can talk about his Team of the Decade. But guys, you've been stars again. I've had a great time. This hour has flown by. See you, Mukund. See you guys. Take it easy. And stop winding Andy up. Stop winding him up. Hopefully next time that he moderates, he won't be using capitals. He'll have calmed down, Take it easy, guys. Mine is far better. Yeah, I'll tell you what, buddy. Let's do, have this penalty shootout and see who's the best. Get it set up. I'm waiting for you to set this up. See you, Robert. Get it set up, Andy. Get Alex Williams in nets. We'll get something for charity. We'll do that. Cheers, Chris. We know it was right. We know it was the best. We know it.